Hello, everyone. Again, this is Annie from Eagle Eyes. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. And I definitely promise you all the time in all of my videos that my videos are in deep thought and of quality content. Always, I put a lot of thought into my messages and also the images that perfectly impacts my messages because my channel and my videos was created with the thought in mind to share experiences, enlightened knowledge, and wisdom to anyone who sees and appreciates, to anyone who sees and can appreciate the messages because life is not easy for any of us and we're all human beings and none of us are gods or angels. None of us are perfect. And to be human is to be flawed. To be human means that we have weaknesses of the mind, the body, the spirit. And so, as I've mentioned to you in my last video about why mental strength is more important than physical, it is really important first to acknowledge. I don't know any of you heard of Dr. Phil. He's a psychologist here in the United States. He's usually on Channel 2, but he's a psychologist that talks a lot about acknowledging that there is a problem. And most human beings are unenlightened, unconscious, and unevolved. And that's not a put down on anyone because I as well am a human being and I am not fully um, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually and intellectually the strongest that I could be. All human beings struggle with their mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual strength. We all should aspire to be our best self, and that's not just about money and titles. We should all aspire to be our best self, as in fixing the way we think, um, how we speak to each other, our actions, and doing our best every single day to practice less negative thoughts and actions and words and how we treat other people. And aspiring to be your best internally will only help you. It will only benefit you. First, it will benefit you and it will help you. And secondly, it will definitely benefit other people who are around you or who you are influenced by or who influence you. So, aspiring to be your best self should be a daily practice because you're only going to help yourself and the people that are around you, and it's only going to create a positive and a healthy and a more joyful being for yourself internally and externally. And so I have been on a road and a path towards internally fixing myself internally. And I've also mentioned this in my last video that we spend, as the spiritual guru Sadhguru said, that we spend most of our time fixing the outside, fixing how we look in the outside, our homes and everything else on the outside, everything external. But we don't spend enough time fixing internal. And that's where most of our battle is, internal. We try to pretend that we don't have mental, emotional, spiritual, intellectual weaknesses. We try to cover up our weaknesses. We try to pretend it doesn't exist. But as Dr. Phil, who's a psychologist here in the United States, in television, usually on Channel 2, he says, you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. And so we have to acknowledge that we have these weaknesses, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, intellectual. And once we acknowledge that we have our weaknesses, and once we also realize that it is because of our weaknesses that we suffer. I mean, look at all the people that we have known and heard of that committed suicide or have everything financially and materialistically but are still not happy. Because the well balanced man is the man who's healthy, wealthy, and happy. And wealthy in a sense that having abundance in every area of your life, meaning not just having finance or physical things, because as you see in history with the examples of people who've committed suicide, who've had numerous problems despite so much that they have, that it is not a well balanced man if he's not healthy, if he's not happy, if he's not joyful, if he's not more actualized as a human being doing things that he or she loves. Because the well balanced man is the man who is successful, or woman. The well balanced man or woman is the man or woman who has success in every area of their life. That is a really and true well balanced man or woman. So, human beings, we should all aspire to be our best self. And to be our best self means to have success in every area of our life. And titles and money should be like at the bottom of the list. Financial, material success, financial success, and titles, that should be at the bottom. Because once you have mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and intellectual strength, you can always gain money or material things. But if you have material things, or you have money, or if you have a title, but you're lacking in other areas and you're still weak, then and unhappy, that's obviously a big problem. It's obviously a big problem. So, again, my message to you today is have a totally different perspective on challenges that you may have with yourself or your fellow man. And I learned this from a spiritual teacher as well as a intellectual, Eckhart Tolle, and he has also learned from spiritual teachers himself. And he said, let your challenges, that could be with yourself, we all have challenges with ourselves, let your challenges with yourself or your fellow man be an opportunity for you to grow mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and intellectually. And if you're lacking in the knowledge, intellect, and the wisdom area, then just read. Educate yourself by reading on more wisdom and intellect and knowledge that will help you to grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and be more intellectually strong, having the ability to think more and to reason more and to be more logical and what makes logical sense. Because human beings, our life here in this physical body is a challenge because we are no gods and we are no angels, but life in the physical body is what makes us mentally and emotionally weak because the flesh is weak. If the flesh is weak, then our minds are weak and our emotions are weak, which is our heart. If the flesh is weak, that makes the mind weak and that makes the heart weak. So then we need to strengthen the mind, our emotions, our spirit, and our intellect so we can grow in all these areas. And make it a practice to grow your strength and to aspire to be your best self, and aspire to be your best self internally by practicing less negative thoughts, actions, words towards yourself and towards other people. Practice it every day because it's a lifelong challenge. And I, as well, am a work in progress, and I am also practicing by using the knowledge the intelligence and the wisdom that I have been gaining myself. I am not without fault. I am not without weaknesses, but I acknowledge all of my faults. I acknowledge all my faults, all my weaknesses, and I aspire to be my best self, starting with my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual strength. And once I am stronger mind, body, heart, soul, spirit, intellectually, then having financial success or material, all the material abundance in my life is only icing on the cake. You see, having perspective on yourself, on your life, and on society, meaning your fellow man. I usually tend to go on for too long, so I will end it here and say, aspire to be your best self and use the challenges of people, places, situation, yourself as an opportunity to grow your mental, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual strength. And you will be a much better, happier, more enlightened. You'll be so much lighter, mind, body, heart, and soul, and spirit. It will make you lighter, it will make you happier. You'll feel like you're floating in a cloud, and you'll be happier. You'll be happier, healthier, more enlightened, and you will make other people happier around you as well. So everyone wins. This is Annie, and I will cut it here. This is Annie from Eagle Eyes, and if you like my work, my messages, and what my channel stands for, which is education, motivation, and inspiration for you to become your best self, as much as I can to share messages and information, as I am also a work in progress, learning myself also in being my best self. If this message was in any way helpful to you, if you like it, if you like any of my work or my messages, then subscribe to my channel for more thoughtful and quality content only and always. And I thank you and I appreciate you. This is Annie from Eagle Eyes. Until next time.